Hello everyone and welcome back to the RuneScape Dragonwilds channel. I am Mod Doom and I'm delighted to be joined here today by our lead designer and combat aficionado, Mod Pointy. Mod Pointy, hello, good afternoon, how you doing?
Hello there, I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm great. Yeah, I'm very excited. We've got a ton of awesome questions who we've gathered from across all of our different platforms, so we're very excited to get these in front of you and get some burning questions answered. Recently, we shared a bit of a look at some of our plans for combat for 12.1 and 1.0, and so we're really excited to get some of these questions from the community in front of you and hear your thoughts and answers.
I can't wait.
You ready for me to jump in?
Yeah, I've been really looking forward to doing this.
Awesome. Okay, well, first one is from Haybox. We have a question from Wanja65968208, had to get that right, who asked, will more attack moves be added, such as melee charged attacks, double jumps, or aerial attacks?
Oh, that is a great question to start with. So I love questions like this because, in short, yes. I'm not entirely sure how much detail I'm allowed to go into right now, but we do have the agility skill coming out in a not too distant in the future update, and you have that to look forward to in a couple of weeks. And with that, you will get a host of new movement options that you can use in combat, and for traversing around Ashenfall in general, of course. Double jump may be one of the things that you get in there. You'll get to find out a bit more of that in the future. But we also have other things that will be coming out as part of that too. We will probably look to do a bit more of a deep dive into what you'll get as part of that. But alongside the improvements that we're getting in agility, we have also been doing a host of improvements to combat in general, right? It's been long overdue. And these will be coming out split over the next update and the 1.0 update in the future as well. That we've released posts about going into at a high level, but to do a quick recap on what to expect, you will get access to things like sprint attacks, right? So you can finally get into combat in a much more fluid way than you have previously been able to. We'll be looking at bringing in new visceral attacks so that you can capitalize on things like your parries when you stagger enemies, and do really powerful attacks that will let you turn the tide of combat in your way. And then there might be some additional things in the future past that will say let you get the drop on your enemies as you want to get involved in combat as well. So there's a lot to look forward to with new combat actions and moves coming in, and I look forward to seeing what you will get up to with them over the course of our next several updates.
Now, one thing that I've heard some members of the community talking about and asking about that I wanted to just sort of use you here to set the record straight on.
Sure.
In particular, that parrying and visceral attack system.
Mm-hmm.
To be clear, the parrying and the visceral attack are two completely separate actions. So if you do parry, you aren't immediately then committed to that full animation of the visceral attack. You can just parry and use that as your window to run for your life if you need to.
Absolutely.
As an example.
So
there we go.
Up until now, parrying has just allowed you to do a brief window of critical attacks, like guaranteed critical attacks. That isn't going away. We're limiting it in a certain way. You'll be able to do a single critical attack. So if you parry, say using a crossbow, for example, you'll still be able to capitalize on the fact that you did do a parry. Visceral attacks are just a new follow-up action to that parry. You can choose to do it, you can choose not to do it, based on the situation you find yourself in, the combat encounters, who's there with your friends and whether they want to do it instead. The freedom is all there, the choice is yours.
Amazing. Right, next question is from Reddit and Reddit user Bosante, who wants to know, could we please get a weapon that utilizes the throwing ring attack from the new mobs in Umbral Sands? I would love to use that attack against them.
Oh, the lava frisbee. So this is where I get to be really honest. I would love to do that. In fact, we actually planned to do that for Umbral Sands. We unfortunately just ran out of time to get it working well to the quality that we would have liked to have shipped it at. And that unfortunately meant that we had to scope it out right at the last minute. But the asset is made. It's waiting for us to return back to it. Now, as I've just mentioned, we have been doing a host of combat improvements in the past, and those have been, and well, still to this day. And we've been focusing mainly on melee combat here, and also plugging the gaps in magic combat. Ranged is due to get some love, and we do plan to do that. And I would love to revisit something like this as part of that ranged update if we can. However, I'm not going to sit here and promise you it, because there's a whole host of other improvements we would like to make to ranged before we do something like that. But I love that weapon. I'm very keen to try and get that weapon in the hands for the players for you to use as well. So if we can do it, we will do it. I worry about how much I'm giving away there.
Yeah, no more spoilers. Don't ruin it for yourself. We've got a question from the Discord, and Discord user Cam the Badger, who wants to know, will we ever get offhand weapons for dual wield, like an offhand crossbow, defenders from RuneScape, or magic spellbooks or orbs?
This is the big question. I was wondering when we were going to get that one, because the simple truth is everyone loves dual wielding in games after all, right? So I do need to be careful of how I answer this, because I don't want to set up a promise I can't keep, much like I was doing with the Chakram there. But what I will say is I've been wanting to add offhand stuff as an alternative to using the shield for the longest time, for a very long time. And in our recent updates, I say recent, but over the course of the last year in our updates, we've added things like more one-handed options, right? You've now got the one-handed crossbow that you can use with ranged. We're about to launch the one-handed wand that you can use with magic. There is a reason that we're releasing the one-handed versions of these weapons. There's many reasons, but one of them is freeing up that offhand to make more use of it in the future. It's not a coincidence, so to say, right? Now, again, I don't want to promise anything here, but it is a thing that we are very keen on exploring as well. We have done in the past. There have been explorations and attempts to try to get this in. It is something we would love to get in if we can.
That's good enough for me. On the pointy end of things, we have a question from Discord user Chillin, who comes to us and says, so it would seem we only have daggers for stabbing things. Are there any chances of more stabbers?
Stabbers, that's a great way of doing that. We should rename them to stabbers in the game, I reckon.
New category, we need stabbers.
Exactly. So we are always on the lookout for new weapon types. We've spoken about what new weapon types we'd like to add into the game for the longest time. We've seen all of the new weapon types that players have been suggesting and been crying out for on our various socials and all of that kind of stuff as well. As of right now, after the release of wands, there are no current new weapon types planned to be in development just yet. However, that's not because we don't want to. Right, there's just other things we want to focus on in the not too distant future. And the question that we always ask ourselves is, what is the thing that players want more of right now? Right. Recently, as we've been alluding to already, it's been improving the core combat experience, and that's why we've been doing it and having such a big focus on it, as well as rounding out the magic combat experience, which is why we've been working on that as well. So if what you want is more weapon types across the community, shout, let us know, because we do listen and we do adapt based on that.
There you go. I will say, because this is about to fold into the next question, in the context, you can absolutely be like, we want more weapons, this is amazing, please Jamplex, give us more weapon. Of course. Remember, we are only human and there are only so many people working on this game, so we want to give you everything, but we, as more Pointy said, we have to prioritize making sure that we're putting out as much stuff as we can that we can be proud of, that we're very happy with. That is also what we have promised you already. So obviously, as we mentioned before, our priority has been get Scorned Wilderness, get the raid in front of you, get you hands on with it. That's why 0.12.1 is not going to be followed up with an update in August, because we're just purely focused on getting Scorned Wilderness absolutely perfect. So in that sense, that's why we're reprioritizing our efforts towards specific things to make sure that we're giving you the best experience with the things we are doing, rather than trying to do a million things and it not feeling perfect, because that just we all love this game so much, and I don't even want to think about how many hours the team have put into this game. So it doesn't bear thinking about.
It is a lot.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot.
But with that said, we all want it to be as cool as possible, so everything we put in has to be just right. So with that in mind, I'm going to give you a very similar question to the one we just had from Cortellus and Hi, I'm Luca over on Reddit, amongst many other people who asked very similar things. I've converged them all into one question. Are there any plans for additional weapon types like spears or halberds or gauntlets for unarmed combat?
Yeah, so as you said, this is quite similar to the question we had before, and the answer will be similar in the same vein again, right? These are weapon types that we have spoken about in the past. Spears and halberds definitely have come up in conversations more than a few times. Gauntlets or claws have come up as conversation topics for how we can make unarmed combat feel like it's able to be progressed and improved upon throughout the entire game, because currently gets left in the dust pretty early on. There is definitely an excitement to bring weapons like that in, and the opportunity space is massive, right? Like, based on the combos that they can have, the way that they impact the enemies, what effects they do on them, what you can do, like spears could disengage quite easily and things like that, allowing you to make use of the space that you create. It just comes down to what is the most important thing for us to spend our time and focus on.
Yep.
So while none of those are things that we are actively working on right this second, it doesn't mean it's a thing that we're not interested in actually developing in the future. And yes, I said there have definitely been conversations around what we could do with weapons like that, especially some of the more iconic weapon types from RuneScape, like the halberds and the spears, that have yet to be utilized or shown any way of being utilized in Dragonwilds just yet.
There we go. Awesome. Thank you so much. Right, I'm going to throw you a completely different kind of question here, and I'm just going to let you kind of pop alt and just go off on one for a bit, because I know that this is a great question. As soon as I saw this one, I was like, Mod Pointy's going to do an amazing job with this one, so I grabbed it instantly. We have a question from Reddit user Krepcheck, who asks, which games and their combat mechanics inspire you, and how did that feed into your vision for the combat in Dragonwilds? The fight caves were, an example of how we initially approach stuff. They were just added, and we know that the next boss fight is going to be a raid, and we all know how raid mechanics are and how they're presented in people's minds when we say the word raid. What other types of combat scenarios would you love to explore in the future?
I love this question on so many levels. So I need to be careful, because I could very easily spend the entire remainder of our time here today talking about all the games I love and how they influence everything that we work on here, as well as the games everybody else works on. Now, there's the obvious big source of influence for us, which is RuneScape, right? And you see that all through the game itself. We are RuneScape players, after all, and you see measures of our interpretation of things like the combat triangle in the mix. While we don't follow the combat triangle in exactly the same way that RuneScape does, what we do is we infer it. So you can see that melee users have that inherent weakness to magic in their armor, and you therefore need to come up with alternative ways of dealing with that. Ranged users have that weakness to melee. If melee is close that gap, you're in trouble, right? And you need to use what tools you have available to you to try and get out of that situation. And in the same thing, if you have that space between them, you can really capitalize on the distance they have to cross to get to you before they can do anything to you. So that's where your type of strength comes in as well, right? So there's huge references from RuneScape all throughout. But when we talk about combat, especially in third-person action game combat, one of my biggest inspirations since forever ago have been games like God of War and Prince of Persia, or Assassin's Creed, things like that. They do really great reaction-based, opportunity-based combat that relies on builds and things like that, which you can absolutely see us taking inspiration from with how to use certain weapon types, because they have their own like cases where they work best. Like great swords are great for crowd control. Warhammers are great for interrupts when you just want to chill things out for a moment. Nothing can pummel a thing into the ground faster than a mace can. Daggers are really good for agile combat, that kind of stuff. And you see the same things in magic and all of that stuff too. But when it comes to some of our more difficult encounters, you mentioned raids. Destiny 2 is a fantastic example of great raid design, and we of course all play games like that ourselves, so we take inspiration from raids like that where we can. Raids have been famous in the MMO space for the longest time as well, with how they make you utilize mechanics and play your part as part of a team, since the early days of World of Warcraft, even in the RuneScape raids as well. Right, and we have definitely been looking to emulate that type of behavior in the stuff we've been putting together as well. So, there are a lot of games that we take inspiration from, and then there's this really niche game that you might have heard of. I think it's called Elden Ring.
Can't say I'm familiar with it. Can't say I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's really, really, really unknown. Okay. Right, not many people have seen it. But
I was missing out.
I definitely recommend you go and play it, right? Because you don't want to miss out on such a hidden gem.
Right.
But there are definitely aspects of that have made its way into our game as well, right? They considered choices to how you approach combat, right? If you just go in and try and face roll through everything, in most cases that's not going to work out for you, especially if you're just approaching enemies in a new region and you haven't got the new region's gear level yet. That's going to be quite difficult for you to try and accomplish. Now, we'll never be as punishing, right? That is very much a Souls-like way of approaching difficulty and how you initiate what is effectively the dance of combat. Most people say that games like that are a rhythm game. We try to do that in a light sense, right? Because we don't want to be as punishing as that. But there's definitely the elements and the semblance of it there that you can pull out if you look for it as well.
Yeah, I think that's a lovely insight into the background of your gaming acumen, and you've proven yourself to be a capital G gamer. But also, I think that one point that particularly stood out is I see a lot of conversations in the community, as I should, but a lot of the conversation is focused on, we are technically, to use Iron Pineapple on YouTube, his definition is a stamina action game. We have stamina and we're an action game, so people are like, that makes it's like a Souls-like, and we're like, yes and no, in a way. You know, there's we want you to push through those difficult obstacles and overcome difficulty to make progress, but friction is inherent in game design. I've learned that from the many talented narrative and game designers I've worked with here at Jagex. They often have a sign that they tap, the friction is inherent in game design sign, that it's going to have to be difficult at some point. You have to learn it at some point. It's not intended to be difficult all the time. Every enemy is meant to be a threat all the time. You know, going back from Dowden to Bramblemead Valley and just crushing a goblin runt with a mace, with a great hammer is
it's satisfying.
It's satisfying. It's cathartic.
It's very satisfying.
You're like, you constantly yelling outside my window when I was trying to build my first home. This is what you get, and then you just turn them into paste. But it's not always a threat that, okay, that goblin runt can absolutely destroy me and humble me, even though I'm in tier 5 gear. That we're not that kind of game. So no. There is a definite balance to how we approach it. So I'm really glad that that's always been in the forefront of our design team's mind, and it just gives us so much room to put amazing content in the future. There's so much potential here. I'm very excited.
There's one thing I want to touch on with what you mentioned with the friction there, because you are spot on, right? Like friction or difficulty, it is important, right? Otherwise, a game will never challenge you. but friction for the sake of friction isn't fun.
Mhm.
There needs to always be a purpose or a reason for that friction. Like what is the friction trying to accomplish? Is it trying to push players towards new gear? Is it trying to make them prove themselves to grant access to a new area, right? Is it training them for what they need to prepare themselves for in that new area? Is it the culmination of everything that you've learned and now a chance to prove what you have learned in this ultimate challenge, which is very much like how Nintendo does a lot of their game design. They will present friction all throughout the level, and then it will culminate with a big way of testing that friction and your ability to deal with that friction right at the end as well. And that is a thing that we do strive to push forward with in our combat. Is it's not just challenge for the sake of challenge. It's not, this enemy isn't just hitting you hard because we think it's fun. It's because it's time to consider new upgrades, right? How do you deal with that threat in front of you right now until you get the ability to go back and smash them over the head with a single hit, like you just spoke about there, right? What do you do in the meantime? What spells have you got? What items do you have? How can you utilize things like stealth to get around? It's about making those decisions. Is now the time to be loud and run in and try and attack everything, or is now the time to adapt and try and think of a different way of dealing with the situation that you're in? And what tools have we given you to help you do that?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all about learning and improving, but also sometimes having to take a beat and be like, okay, what can I actually do? Because I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of starting a new character, new save, new world, trying to power on ahead, throwing myself into that exact. In the Fractured Highlands, there's that little bit where there's an ore cave, where there's an alpha wolf protecting it.
I was about to say, is this the alpha wolf cave?
I was always like, oh, how do I can't get in there because my gear isn't good enough, and that's the most reliable source of getting the materials. And I had to, I just in that instant, I had that realization that I was like, oh, you could just build a platform on the other side and shoot at them with a bow, or use wind step, use all your building tools, use all the skill spells and everything at your disposal, and just go somewhere else, find a different node. Yeah, it might not be as productive or as straightforward to get to, but there are alternative ways to get this gear, and you'll come back stronger. And then ultimately that alpha wolf will be a cakewalk eventually. It's just about taking the moment and thinking about an alternative solution. And we definitely give you plenty of tools to do that. So I'm always glad to see players coming back with stories of, I beat this boss, or I did this, I overcame this obstacle, and I'm so happy with this new progress that I've made, which is what we all want, right?
Yeah, like full props to our level design team, because they do that excellently, right? They'll put what feels like the obvious thing there behind a challenge, but there is always alternatives.
Yeah.
Right? There's always another way to get what you need, or get to what you need. They're really good at thinking like that and delivering like that. So yeah, the Alpha Wolf Cave is a fantastic example. I'm really glad you brought that one up. Yeah.
It's just because it's top of mind, because I'm going back to try and start from zero one more time before Scorned. I'm like, right, one more time, and I've hit that point again, and it feels like I'm back where I was last year, throwing myself into that cave over and over again. Better times. So our next question is from Hassanel. Speaking of powering up and getting stronger and being ready for a big fight, as we're now getting Ascension Cores in the next bigger update, which weapons are we considering masterwork status? For example, the Shadow Sword, Imru's Talon, the Zombie Axe. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the basic way to think about it is anything crafted outside of the standard crafting material progression, i.e. made out of bronze or hard leather or runite eventually, and things like that. Those are what we consider our like our vestiges or our side options, or our masterworks in some regard as well, right? Those are the things that you're going to be able to upgrade specifically, and we've developed this with one core goal in mind, right? Allowing you to use the weapons and armors that you love in the areas that you go to in the future as well, because what happens at the moment is you get used to using one of these weapons. Like the Abyssal Whip is one of my favorite weapons in the game. You have to leave it behind by the time you get to Fellhollow because it can't keep up with the damage. right? Especially when you start doing some of the harder difficulty content in there, and then by the time you get to Dowden, yeah, there's no chance, right? The Black Knights just shrug it off entirely. But this is the Abyssal Whip, right? You worked hard to get the Abyssal Whip. You overcame huge challenge to get it, and we need to allow you to be able to take that with you the whole way along the journey if that's the weapon you want to use, right? But you're going to work for it, and I'll get into that in a sec as well. Now, we're not looking to make every item in the game become masterwork or masterwork levels, right? Masterworks will still be these legendary style weapons, right, that you get from quests or massive endeavors. And what makes them a masterwork is they have these bespoke attacks or combos, or they have these really unique special attacks, really crazy special effects, being able to summon in your own little body cow fight and all that kind of stuff. We're not looking to dilute what those type of weapons are. And even if you upgrade a vestige weapon all the way up to the maximum, it will still be a vestige, right? We want these things to still sit within the buckets that they are, and vestiges are unique weapons with lesser effects, typically only one effect, right? They might do more damage to a particular creature type. They might have a higher chance of crit at the cost of base damage, for example. Any weapon, to go back to the question, any weapon that you get from a vestige item or from a quest will be able to be upgraded, or if you find them in chests or vaults as well, because I know that some of them come from there. Anything outside of that standard pick up bronze bar, unlock all these weapons and equipment will be able to be upgraded using these Ascension Cores, and the Ascension Cores will be a skill check in how you acquire those themselves. They'll come from specific difficult locations and sources, so you don't get it for free, and especially in the later areas of the game, you definitely don't get it for free. You will need to work to do it, but the payoff will be that you can be that powerful adventurer that you felt like in power level 3 gear all the way through to power level 7 or 8 gear.
And you want the drip, right? You want to look good in the gear that, like, look, not everyone likes Mystic. I think the banana hat has some sauce. If I want to carry on, and if I've spent my time in the Crucible, I've done my sentence, I've served my time, and I've got the power to prove it. I'm gonna be rocking whatever drip I want. I'm gonna look crazy. So that's the thing that we definitely want to highlight. Is it's an earned level of progression, but it's also bringing back stuff that you had to leave behind, because we from the minute it came out and we heard your feedback around the Abyssal Whip being something that should stay with you, we've tried to plan in a way to make it a viable thing that you can bring with you, but it's also something that's not just, oh, you got the Abyssal Whip, the game is now over because it's the strongest thing in the game forever and ever. You've got to go back and bring it up to your level after proving you don't need it. It's not the only weapon you need. You need to be a master, which is very cool. The other thing I wanted to highlight is a question that we've had around this, just for my own sanity, just so we've got it. Does this extend to things like shovels, or is it just weapons and armor?
Right now it's just weapons and armors. So anything that is used in combat specifically will be upgradable. The items that are not won't be, especially when it comes to things like the newly released desert robes in Umbral Sands, for example, right? There's not really any reason to use desert robes outside of Umbral Sand, because their main purpose is to help you deal with the Scorch mechanic, right? So rather than making every single piece of armor in the game end up either being melee armor, ranged armor, or magic armor, because then you shoehorn them into specific buckets that they don't need to be in, they just simply won't be upgradable for the time being. And then we will revisit what we do with those items in a different way in the future.
Oh, don't. You're getting me all excited now. Okay, teasing me. Okay. Thank you very much. We have a question from Douyin user Mao, who wants to know, could you tell us more about the special attack bar? If the slot is empty, does that mean you can't use special attacks at all?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, great question. So I guess first of all, let's go over how this will work, right? And then that might help frame what we talk about here. So first and foremost, when we talk about the special attack bar, for people who play old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3, this will be a very similar concept to what you are used to, right? It's a meter that governs when you can perform certain powerful actions with certain weapons, right? It recharges on its own at its own rate, so it's completely detached from the stamina bar, and you need to work out the right situations to use these now powerful attacks in, to make sure you don't end up in a situation where you need to use it and you can't, or you want to use it and you end up getting killed because you couldn't do it at the right time or something like that. Now, special attacks are, as I mentioned, situational. They're not just, hey, let's make it do a ton load more damage. It is also, hey, this one has the ability to, like, if you take the mace, for example, the ability to smash open a blocking enemy's shield pose now. So if an enemy is hunkering down, you can do something about it. Now, we've been able to put this in.
Yeah.
Because previously, that was too powerful of an ability to be governed by the stamina bar, right? When it was just a stamina bar, because of the rules around the stamina bar and the freedom that we want you to have with it, it meant that you could do actions while you still had only one stamina. Even though it's a really powerful action, it should really demand more. So what that resulted in is a lot of these attacks that you've had for the longest time being quite toned down compared to what we actually wanted them to do. Another great example is the sword lunge, right? That's meant to be a really powerful running your enemy through moment. Right now it kind of does the same amount of damage as like the second or third attack in the combo. This is our opportunity to rethink how we look at these attacks, and this special attack bar allows us to govern the usage of them in a way that they can do what we want them to do without breaking the game, without trivializing combat. So, when it comes to the special attack bar itself, or when it will be and when it won't be visible, yes, it will only be visible when you have a weapon that can use it. You'll clearly be able to see how much of it you have, because we're going to attach it to the HUD itself, so it will live in the same space that the health bar and the stamina bar both are, so you can very clearly look at it. And any weapons that make use of this will very clearly mention in their tooltip how much special attack, they will require before you can use it in combat as you need to. But there's a couple of things that, or one main thing that we need to govern, or at least cover with this, and that is a lot of people are going to need to rethink how they approach combat with this, because things like spin to win with the greatsword whirlwind attack won't be as much of a thing anymore. You'll be able to do it 2, maybe 3 times in a row, but then you're locked out of it until you get enough stamina, special attack bar, back to do it again. But as much as I know that might upset some of you, I think we can all agree that this has needed to be nerfed for quite some time. So this is our opportunity.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, because we want them to feel satisfying to use, but we know that right now players use them as just another part of the combo, and so balancing that has been really tricky. But we're looking like it's in a really good spot, and it just means that the move is more of a flourish, so you can just kind of just and then really finish off a combo. Because I always like doing that at the moment with daggers and maces, is just either opening or closing a combo with the overhead slam or the down and up slash with the dagger. Both incredibly satisfying moves to do. Would be even more satisfying if they just had a little bit more damage and were actually really good finishing moves to use that were, a conscious choice, much like the mace being a block breaker. You see that that goblin bruiser pop the shield up, or you see that Garuthane throw the shield up, and you go, right, this is when I use this, because now I can catch you on the hop, and then there you go, I've got you dead to rights. So
and it is really satisfying when you do it as well.
100%.
And some of those instances that you mentioned there, like using what previously were secondary attacks as openers into combat, that's very much what the sprint attacks that we're looking to introduce in one of the future updates are coming in to allow you to do, right? To let you have that satisfying initiation of combat. So that reliance on these attacks in the past to do something like that, because I did exactly the same thing, and I know that most other people did as well. The telemetry that we have indicates that very much, right? As well as all the footage that we've seen and everything. While you won't be able to do that as much, or if you do, you might end up in a situation where you find yourself starved of this new resource. You have these new sprint attacks instead that will accomplish what that used to do for you anyway, right? We have purposely balanced them to do that in terms of the damage that they do, the frequency that you can do it, how easy it is to initiate it. So it's less of a taking away and just a reframing of what to use and when.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a really cool opportunity for us to do something new with special attacks, and it just means that we can put more firepower behind it, so it feels even more satisfying to really deliver that killing blow or use it at the right opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question is from a Reddit user Seldom Hero, who has asked, will we see more gear specific buffs or bonuses in the future, or rather than them just being different cosmetically?
That's the $1 million question right there.
I feel like it's been something that we've been getting asked so often for so long.
Since day one.
Since day one.
Let's
talk about it.
Hell yeah. So, armor set effects are an area of combat that everyone has been wanting to see improved since early access, right? They are an obvious evolution of that set effect system. And that's because that's specifically what they were designed to be, right? That was exactly what we wanted to do with it. It was always our intention to use set effects to deliver more player or class fantasy into the game. Because right now, that's what the three that we have and make use of do, right? They deliver that tank fantasy, they deliver that hunter sniper fantasy, and they deliver that unstoppable elemental mage fantasy, right? But there are plenty of other fantasies that we can bring in, that we can allow the player to live. And the main issue that we've been faced with up until now is that we could have brought all of these unique set effects in, but you would leave that armor behind when you would transition to the next area, right? Like you would get your paladin armor, and we could have given it a really cool set effect, but then you get into Fell Hollow and you have to make a new set of armor. Now you're wearing the skeleton armor or the white knight armor, right? And now the paladin armor is being left behind. This new masterwork system we just spoke about, or the masterwork / vestige upgrade system, I should say, that solves that problem. You'll be able to upgrade that armor now. So this opportunity space has now opened up, and for every conversation that we have seen of players asking for more set effects, I promise you, full hand on heart, I promise you that the conversation has also been had internally as well. I've literally had it twice this week.
Yeah,
right.
We're always talking
about it. What can we do to bring in exactly right? What can we do to bring in set effects for the armor sets that we have and the new armor sets going forward? Now, one thing that we need to be 100% sure of when we introduce these new set effects is that they have a purpose, right? We could just throw set effects into the game and just say, there you go, it does this cool new thing, but if there's no reason to actually do it, then it kind of isn't a choice that the player needs to make, right? They probably look at it and be like, nah, okay, cool, I'll equip it because it's different to what I had before, but it's not really that meaningful. I haven't really had to make a decision here, right? I want to do it in a way that makes that the case, right? You choose when you want to equip these certain types of armor for their different benefits, because they have clear and major use cases where, like, say for example, I wear this armor and I do more damage to the undead. Well, I'm wearing that in Fellhollow, and maybe there's a couple of locations elsewhere in the world where I have to deal with the undead, and that's the perfect time to use this armor there, right? Now, I'm not saying that that is an armor set effect that we're going to do. It's just an example. Nor do I want to get people too excited. I'm not promising that these are coming anytime soon. But what I do want to say is that it's going to be a dedicated area of focus for us. We want to use the system that we've built. And as I mentioned, the opportunity space is ripe for development in. I just want to make sure that we develop it in a way that is actually beneficial to the experience of the game. And when you see a new set effect come out, that you go, oh, now that's interesting. Oh, that could have this implications to combat, rather than, oh yeah, cool, fine. And that will take a bit of time, and I can't promise when we're likely to do anything along that lines, but discussions are happening, desire is there, and we want to do it just as much as you do.
There we go. That's set the record straight for us. So we have a question from QQ channel user Banyan, who wants to know, will the special animations for weapons be reworked?
Oh, that's a great question. To an extent, yes. So we won't be changing anything around their actual animations, or reworking their VFX and audio, because we've always intended the special actions for these weapons to be more than what they currently are. Is what I was alluding to in the question before, right? So with that initial design being that the mace was supposed to smash open the block, like I said, the animations and the VFX have already been made with that in mind. We just had to tone down the actual results of those attacks. Now we get to undo that toning down. Now we get to bring them back up to the place they're supposed to be, to do that damage that we want them to do those effects that we want them to have. So what that means is, while the visuals of the attack themselves will not change, the effects of what happens when you do them will, right? Like, this attack will feel a lot more heavier now, because it might knock an enemy to the ground or cause them to hit react a lot harder because of the power and the damage and the force that it's doing, right? It might end up with certain attacks having a lot more additional benefit in terms of what status effects they apply. So not only do you see this really cool animation, you get to see the battlefield change because of it, right? All these enemies now either rooted in place or poisoned or something like that. And it also allows us to go back to weapons that we have previously had to tone down quite harshly, because of the damage potential that they had, and bring them back up to where they should be, right? Because they are supposed to be these weapons that have the ability to dish out that level of power or battlefield changing behavior. So things like the crystal bow get to have the love that they're supposed to have again, because the way it was before was too powerful. Now we can control it. Now we can allow it to be that force of destruction it's supposed to be.
So we've got, I'm kind of folding two questions into one here, from Reddit user Steve Dehoy and Discord user Nullpoint Surge. I've converged these two in to, will there be any more runes that we can use for magical combat? For example, are there plans to add earth magic casting or weapon enchantments for earth if it's happening, or water enchantment spells for melee weapons?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, most definitely, right? So for the keen-eyed magic users out there, you'll notice that there is a elemental rune type that has yet to be able to be equipped and used in combat, and that is the Earth rune. And that is a gap we're looking to fill, because Earth magic is in active development right now. So you'll be able to look forward to using that in the not too distant future. Now, the biggest question that we normally get in a follow-up to this is, what do we do with additional spellbooks, things like ancient magics or
Yeah.
lunar magics, are they coming into the game and all of that? We decided long ago, back in the ancient times, that it was best to first fully round out the core combat magic experience, right? So that your 4 elements, and with Earth magic coming in and in the update that will come, we accomplished that, right? So we now start to look into the future, and we're starting to talk about and experiment with how we enhance magic as a whole, right? Because it doesn't have to be entire new spellbooks. We have a whole host of other rune types out there as well, things like blood runes, death runes, chaos runes. That there feels like there isn't a ripe opportunity to enhance the magic you already have using these runes as a method of doing so, right? And there is plenty of space in both the magic skill tree and the rune crafting skill tree to explore things like that down the line as well. We've purposefully left that space for it. So the possibility space of magic is huge and it's vast, right? And that can look like new combos, extended combos, as I mentioned earlier, new magic types with ancient magics, like how do we bring in ice magic, blood magic, things like that. And there's a whole host of other iconic spells that we would love to bring into the game as well, both in combat and outside of combat, that will likely need us to look at bringing in additional rune types as well, right? So again, much like I've said with a whole bunch of other of the questions I've answered today, I'm not promising we're doing one of those particular things. We might end up doing something completely different with how we extend magic, but what we are doing is talking about what our next steps are. And there is a very large legacy in RuneScape of how magic is enhanced, how it is evolved, and in what directions it can go in, and where it focuses, and how it deals damage, and what it does to the enemies, right?
Absolutely. I think that's a cracking headline. Is Earth magic is being actively tinkered away on by our intrepid experts, which is incredibly exciting for me anyway. I'm very excited to see what shape that takes, and our community is going to love that. So who knows? The future is a mystery to us all. And as we've said a lot, I think it's worth using this as an exact point to sort of tap the sign and underline this. This is a game that's going to be around for years and years. Our 1.0 update is not the end by a long shot. And what we've got in store beyond our 1.0 release is really exciting stuff. And so there's loads of room for us to explore and talk about ways to give you as the player more power, more spells, more combat abilities, more of an awesome experience, and just grow this world, because we've got so much of RuneScape to draw from and take inspiration from, and so much of our own story that we want to tell. So yeah, there's the sky's the limit. If you've got the time, we've got the passion and the talent to do it. So we'll get there in time. So I'm very excited to see how it all comes together. We've got a question from QQ channel user Xiaohima, who wants to know what's the difference between the current spell wheel and this new quick cast system that's coming in. I realise this is a bit more of a Mod Deluxe UI UX question in terms of the intent. How's this affecting the combat experience?
He would definitely be better to answer this, but I am as involved in the situations here, so I can at least take a good stab at it. But maybe that's a question he'll be able to expand a lot more on in the future. But what I can say for now is that it's not a quick cast, so to say. What it is it's more quicker actions, right?
Yep.
So quick access, I guess, is the best way to think about it, right? You'll be able to open radial wheels to be able to choose your items and ammo types more quickly, and you'll also be able to cycle through them as well in a particular order based on how you have them in your inventory. So you'll be able to change your ammo types without needing to go into your inventory and right click a different one, right? You have multiple options available to you, and how you do that in a much quicker and a much smoother method, right? We're also changing the controller layout, right, to allow selecting things from things like the spell wheel, all these new radial menus that we're adding, while moving, right? Because some of the biggest complaints we've had is just how much you get locked in place for certain actions, especially when it comes to spells and spell casting, right? So yeah, we're looking at across the board ways that we can reduce that annoyance or that friction.
And for the longest
right?
time, there's a balance to be had of we wanted skill spells to feel like an active choice that you were choosing to do, and a lot of things like enchanting your weapon was a preparatory move. You do it before you engage an enemy in combat, right? But we're getting to the point where the combat's massive and
it's fast.
It's fast, and so being able to then react a bit more organically and give yourself more opportunities is a great benefit, and players hopefully will feel the benefit of it because it is a great improvement.
It is, and that's precisely why we've gone back to a whole host of those spells like the enchant weapons that you mentioned, or Tempest Shield, or Windstep, or Surge, right? And made it so that they don't root you in place anymore. You can cast them while you're on the move, and it does make combat feel so much better because of it, right? You're no longer just in those constant moments where you're like, oh my god, please just let me cast this spell, right? As you watch a guru smack you in the face with its mace for the third time as you're trying to reapply Tempest Shield, right? We've had a big dedicated effort to try and make that a much smoother experience, which is also part of how we've ended up with this new quick access system as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, before I let you go, Mod Pointy, I thought I'd save the most difficult and most introspective of the questions for last. I thought I'd save this one for last to really ask you to look inwards and think seriously about this one.
We're getting philosophical.
We are getting philosophical. This is a question from
excellent.
Viora over on Reddit, who asks, would you, Mod Pointy, rather fight 10 Kebbit-sized Velgars or 1 Velgar-sized Kebbit?
Oh my god, this is my favourite question I've ever been asked.
You got to think about it. If you need a few minutes, take your time. We can let this one sit and you can think about it.
Are the Kebbit-sized Velgars as powerful as Velgar is? Is it just 10 Velgars but they're tiny, or are they as powerful as a Kebbit?
I think they're scaled down in both size and power. I think they would be. I think the poison breath would be 10 times weaker, as an example.
Then, at that point, I would just want to. I wouldn't want to fight them. I would want to turn them into my pets, right? I want to use spells like Confuse, just be like, you're my friend forever now.
Yep.
Right? And I was watching an OSRS streamer, Foe, the other day play through Umbral Sands update.
Yep.
And he decided to try his luck against one of the Desert Kebbits, and it took him out in a single hit. It took over half his health in a single attack. And you could argue that might be because he hadn't gone and got the health shrines yet, but honestly, Kebbits are vicious. They are dangerous and very, very, very easily... what's the word I'm looking for? When you judge something...
you could. They are very unassuming. You look at them.
That's the word. Thank you. They're very
I
unassuming.
remember the first time I saw the concept art for Kebbits way back. I was like, these guys are adorable. These are the sweetest little things. I need 1 million of these in merch immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But
they're vicious.
They're vicious. They are vicious. Don't let looks be deceiving. Don't fall for it. Mm-hmm. They are not. They are not as friendly as they seem. They are little meanies. So
exactly right. If a little version of that can be as vicious and as terrifying as our at least our desert Kebbits are, fighting a Velgar-sized one of those where it's souped up damage and power-wise, that's terrifying. That'd keep me up at night. I'm going to go with 10 Kebbit-sized Velgars.
Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of flavour onto Viora's question here.
Okay.
Would you rather fight 10 Kebbit-sized Fuzans or 1 Fuzan-sized desert Kebbit? That's because I feel like, based on what you've said, that's a very different proposition.
Oh, I'd probably still I'd probably still go with a desert kebbit-sized Fuzan if that was the option.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Honestly, I don't blame you. I think I'm leaning the same way, to be perfectly honest with you. That's
Plus,
the
you
way I'm
know,
going.
imagine desert kebbit-sized Fuzan coming out on one of its little night patrols.
Very cute.
It'd be adorable.
That'd be adorable. Just
adorable.
like little moths flying around. You'd be like, what are these things? And then one tries to bite you, and you're like,
It's
ow,
like
hey.
you're being hunted, and it's just biting your ankles. You're like, oh,
Hey,
bless him.
Get off me, little guy. What do you want? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, there you go. That's everything we could possibly want to know about that, and then some. So thank you so much, Mod Pointy, for taking time out of your very busy schedule. I realise it is late in the afternoon here. I want to let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening in peace after cooking up some more awesome stuff for us around School and Wilderness. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to everyone who sent in your questions. Thank you to the folks whose questions we picked out, but thank you to everyone who submitted them as well. There were a ton in there, and I couldn't pick them all, so I've grabbed a cross selection, and we'll be definitely looking at. We look at all of the questions anyway, so if we're looking to answer those in a news post or some other way, if we can get your questions answered, we'll always look to do that. So thank you so much for everyone for sending in those questions. We hope you enjoyed this little community campfire, and we hope you're looking forward to the 0.12.1 update when it drops at the end of this month. So get excited. I hope you are looking forward to that as well. It's going to be a great time. Any parting words of wisdom, Mod Pointy?
Not words of wisdom, just a big thank you for all the questions that came in, as you said. I really love doing things like this, so if you're interested in hearing any more, let us know. I'll always make time to come and answer some of the questions like this, for definite. The thing, if I was to give you any wisdom, it would be don't eat yellow snow.
Brilliant. That's
there you go.
Not hugely pertinent on Ashenfall. No snow on Ashenfall
It's true.
To date. So who knows? Maybe in the future that will become helpful advice. That's not a tease. We're not leaking anything. We're not leaking anything. If you're leaking anything, see a doctor. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. And until next time, be good adventurers, and we'll see you in Ashenfall. Goodbye for now.
Take care.
Bye.